sponsored by ETQ, titled Connection, Adoption, and Expansion, the BSH Home Appliances Approach to Quality Management. I'm Pablo Baez with ASQ, and to introduce our speaker and launch this event, we have Liz Pardo of ETQ. So Liz, let me pass it over to you to get the presentation started.
Thanks, Pablo. So I'm super excited to be joined today by Scott Koszalinski from BSH Home Appliances. He is the Quality Business Excellent Manager, a very experienced leader. He's going to be sharing his quality journey and lessons learned along the way. So I just want to say welcome to Scott and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Liz. I appreciate that.
And before we get started, I'm just going to give a brief overview of who ETQ is. So we are a leading provider of quality management systems. We've been doing this for over 30 years. So we empower quality champions like BSH to make quality management a catalyst for business agility and success. We have an award-winning quality management solution, and you can see some of the recognition we've gotten. If you're familiar with G2, that's a leading software review site. ETQ has been recognized as an industry leader for 16 consecutive quarters. So customers really value our solution for many reasons. It's flexible, it's scalable, it's cloud native. We have over 40 applications that span the entire life cycle of quality management, and that supports our customer needs and growth. So with all that experience and understanding our customers' needs, we just go beyond being a software vendor. So we want to partner with you to be a trusted advisor to meet your quality goals in your organization. So we actually have over 1 million global users, and that varies from small companies to global companies, and I'm going to give you a look at some of our customers in the next slide. So like I said, we have customers of all different sizes. We span across many different industries, and there's actually a lot of cross-pollination across industries. A lot of things that industries like food and bev can actually apply to discrete manufacturing. So just because we span this wide, we just have a lot of different quality journeys, quality stories. So it just covers all industries. And you can see discrete manufacturers like BSH. We also work with electronics and technology manufacturers, food and bev, like I said before, and some life sciences and biotech industries, so more regulated industries. So I just want to give you a sampling of some of the challenges that organizations commonly see that we help address. So inconsistent processes, reducing productivity, siloed or outdated systems, forcing duplication of work. And Scott, I think these first two are super relevant to your story and some of those challenges that you were facing. And I'll let you speak to that when we get to your section. But I want to cover a couple more challenges that we help address, like weak supplier relationships, hidden factory, piling up with some of that unaddressed scrap and waste, product defects, incomplete data. So organizations are unable to track, trend, and prioritize those issues. So one last slide before we get to Scott's super exciting story. So I just want to talk a little bit how we improve quality across the entire product lifecycle. So we're connecting people, processes, and technology to reduce cost and improve brand loyalty, delivering that ROI. So that starts with product design all the way up to customer usage. So this really creates a closed loop quality approach because we're feeding that customer usage back into the product design. So there's implications across the entire product life cycle, and that is important because cost and risk of defects significantly increase the further along the chain they travel. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Scott. They have a really interesting story at BSH Home Appliances, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear it. Scott, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Liz. I appreciate the opportunity. Um, First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Scott Koszalinski, the Quality Business Excellence Manager for BSH Home Appliances. And what our company does, we're tied in with Bosch, and we are the white goods manufacturer for BSH brand. We make products like refrigerators and ovens and ranges and stoves that go into your kitchens and laundry rooms in your homes. So we are a white goods manufacturer that operates globally. I am responsible for our North American market, though. So next slide. One of the challenges that we had is, like every company, we have appliance hold processes within our company, and the current method that we had, or the previous method, I should say, that we had, was very labor intensive, very prone for errors, had as many as 25 different interdepartmental communications flowing through back and forth via email and many other modes of communication that we had within the company. And the end result was having an unreliable and ineffective communication process with our entire team across the region that we needed to find a solution for. Next slide. One of the things that we have is a lot of disconnected systems for training, for document control, for SAP, et cetera. And none of these were tied together in one unique format. There was also one glaring hole that we had in regard to our training, and that was how do we record and maintain records for hourly and temp colleagues that are not stored within somebody's desk. So we had to find a system that was able to connect all of these disconnected systems, forming more like a hub system that we'll get to in just a second, so that we could access all of these applications within one location. We had multiple systems that were disconnected. We needed to go to multiple systems to get a summary report for a training system that we may have. And not all BSH employees were able to access the systems that we did have. Go ahead, next slide. So what we did, and this was going back to 2019, is my partner and I started a research on all of the different quality management systems that were in the market today. We went through, and you can see the graph on the left-hand side, and evaluated them on a scale of usability, attractability, how complex they were, what they included, et cetera. And we settled on the ETQ Reliance QMS system because it provided the immediate fix to what we had, to the challenges that we had, and it also allowed for expansion to other areas. We know that ETQ Reliance is a quality management system itself, built on a lot of different applications that we could potentially use. And we decided to go forward with that to resolve our immediate need that we had for our communication issue. Next slide. So we decided that after the research that we did, our topic was escalated to our regional technology team back in 2019, as I mentioned before, to try and come up with a solution. We wanted to find one that was intuitive, efficient, and effective in being able to accomplish what we actually needed to get done. And then through a variety of different internal and external communications that we had within our global teams, we decided to pursue ETQ back in the first quarter of 2020, unfortunately just in time for COVID-19 as it hit shortly thereafter in the second quarter. But basically, what ETQ allowed us to do was go from a complex communication path to a simplified version of it with one click, being able to communicate to all of the necessary people that we needed to on the list. Next slide. So using the system, the ETQ system in totality, as that hub, as I was stating before, we were able to, and are able to connect all of those previously disconnected systems into one hub. One of the goals that we had was for ETQ not to technically replace any existing system that we had within our company, but to use it as a platform to connect all of the systems, acting as the hub or the central go-to place to get all of the reports that we needed, both for training, for document control, and for anything else that we needed at the moment in time. We have one system now for reporting for all of our training. It also does not require a BSH account to access the training. So you can see previously on the slide where the hourly and temp colleague training was in red, it is now in blue, and we've closed that hole. So we have an opportunity now in one system to maintain all of those records for training and for control. Next slide. And that's pretty much the journey that BSH has gone through over the past few years. In addition, once we were able to launch the appliance hold application in our system and streamline and improve the communication, we were starting to look at different opportunities for implementing the different applications, two of those being the document control and the training management systems that we are in process of launching as we speak. So I turn back to you, Liz. I appreciate the time.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Scott. It is such an interesting story and such interesting timing, especially with the pandemic. So I have a couple questions for you. So how did you get management buy-in for automating quality processes? Was there any information or criteria they were looking for specifically?
They're looking specifically when we made the decision, they needed to see what simplifications and streamlining the system was going to be able to accomplish for us, as well as error corrections that we had in the system today. We needed to meet with a lot of our stakeholders that we had, and as we met with our stakeholders that we knew, and they communicated to their teams, additional stakeholders popped up. So it was a process of communication throughout our entire organization to make sure that everybody was aware of what was going on and showing the benefits that implementing this system would have with our challenges that we had in our system today.
So let's talk about stakeholders a little bit. Do you have any tips for our viewers here on working with many different groups in your organization?
The one thing to do and maintain is a constant common communication platform that you're going for. Because what they're going to do is they're going to talk amongst themselves. And you want to make sure that the stakeholders are all hearing the same story from the same base, if you will. And the one thing to expect as you're going through some of these implementation processes is expect other stakeholders to pop up that you didn't anticipate. An example was when we were launching the training management application late last year. I ended up having 13 different conversations with 13 different groups within our global human resources organization that needed to be assured that this was going to be a solution for North America that we needed for our training management. So always expect that there will be others that will be interested in your story.
And I think IT kind of rolls in with that. So can you talk a little bit about the security side of things and how you worked with IT on that?
That's a good point, Liz. One of the things that BSH prides itself on is its security of our IT systems. And with this, especially with the NXG version that we are on, which is in the cloud, there was always going to be some concern about how the applicability and the access to the system was going to be, the security of it was going to be maintained. What we've done is we decided to approach this with a crawl, walk, run approach. And the crawling aspect of it is what we're in right now. And that is using upload processes rather than directly connecting to any of our other systems like SAP as an example. So we have, and we built into our applications, the ability to download information in a safe manner and then upload it into the ETQ system in a safe manner, which continued that separation, if you will, and security that our IT team was expecting. You always want to make sure that you have an IT representative on your team as you're going through your launch so that they can help guide you through the security issues that you may have and come up with creative solutions that they would instantly get buy-in from the IT group.
I think that's really interesting to work with all kinds of groups because I'm sure along the way you've had all kinds of ideas and, oh, can we do this in a quality management system? Like, what else can we do in here? I know you're a big proponent in socializing the value of this, automating quality processes in one system. So how have you socialized that? And I know you've gotten HR excited about it
Yes.
specifically. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, the biggest challenge that you'll always have is with communication, making sure that you can get buy-in from the groups that you're talking to. And on my team that did the implementation for each of the applications, I had representatives of the core stakeholder, if you will, that needed to understand the system in much more detail. So for the training management, I had our HR team involved and key people from our training management side of our HR team involved in the development of the tweaking, if you will, of the out-of-the-box experience for NXG. And then it's just continuing the communication with the stakeholders that are that tend to pop up when you least expect it. But if
Hmm.
you keep your message consistent and the same, and you're patient and expect these to come up and people constantly to question, um, then it goes much simpler and they feel much more confident that you know what you're doing and they're able to trust that you're doing the right thing for the business.
It's awesome. I might throw you a curveball here, but I thought of it when I heard about the timing of your implementation and rollout of ETQ. So with the pandemic and that big demand for appliances when people were redoing their homes and whatnot, did that escalate the need for getting ETQ up and rolling in your organization?
Absolutely. We had a solution, or we had an existing system that was so manual that it was overburdensome on the people that were using it. And we run lean as every company does. So we had to find a solution that was more automated that could do this in an easier fashion and still be able to communicate to our region of the issues that were going forward. So when we discovered ETQ and decided on going with it, that the pandemic and everybody working from home and remotely definitely escalated the need for an electronic solution to the issues.
Awesome. And one last question I have for you. So what's next in your quality journey? What are you and your team working on, and what does the near and maybe even far future look like for BSH?
The near future is expanding the use of ETQ within our system, getting more people on board and online regionally first to utilize this. The next is then taking what we've implemented here in the United States and Canada and Mexico to our global team over in Europe. I've got a couple of meetings set up with some folks already to talk with them on the global side, and then to expand the use of our applications that we currently have that are included with the package that we purchased to different groups and different teams within our own regional aspects as well.
That's great. And actually, sorry, I have one more question.
Sure.
You're just making me think of all kinds of thoughts. So what has adoption been like in BSH? I know ETQ has academy trainings for our users. So what has the adoption process been like in your organization?
We started out, first of all, I have an administration team that I've trained myself,
Hmm.
and they've gone through the academy training that were required for working with the system. And then I've put them through some of the trainings that we've done the 3 applications that we're currently using today. From there, the adoption process has been the appliance hold, obviously, since it was the first one out of the gate, has been the quickest one to be adopted because the teams that were previously in the communication loop see and understand the benefits that they're getting today from the appliance hold application. The next one for adaptation within the system is our document control. That's just recently launched, and I'm in process. As a matter of fact, that's where I am today, of training on both the document control and training management this week for some of our Bosch colleagues down here in South Florida as well, with the adaptation and adoption to help for our document control and training management systems as well.
That's awesome. Do you have any parting words of wisdom, anything that I left out that you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, actually I do. Launching a new system like this is always going to be a challenge. What you need to do is the suggestions I would make, communicate the same message. You've got to make sure that all of the stakeholders that you know of and that you don't know of receive the same message, because they're going to talk to each other. They're going to try and find ways not to do it. What your job is as an implementer is to find those pain points and demonstrate and show actively how the system can eliminate those pain points and improve the business as you're going forward. And we always have to make sure that we're staying and understanding that this is a system that is improving our business. So if we target it that way and focus it that way, your journey and your ability of adoption is going to be much easier.
It's all about having a united front, essentially.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Scott. Before I hand it back over to Pablo, I do just want to remind everyone that we have tons of additional resources on our website. We have all kinds of webinars. We have white papers and guides. We have a lot of great customer case studies on our website. So you can find that at etq.com/etq-resources. And with that, I am going to hand it back over to Pablo.
Well, thank you, Liz and Scott, for taking the time to share this valuable instructional presentation. I just love that discussion. And thanks again, of course, to ETQ for bringing this together, the webcast speaker, for our members at ASQ. To connect with today's speaker, Scott, and to ETQ, you can email them at emarketing@etq.com. Check out their website. It's got a wealth of resources. As Liz said, case studies, reports, webinars, real applications of how this all works. And that again is at etq.com/etq-resources. If you'd like to learn more about the topics from ASQ, everything on quality, you can check out asq.org. Use our global search. That's asq.org/search. We've got articles, case studies, templates you can download, and more webcasts like this. Okay, thanks again to our sponsor ETQ and our speaker, and to all of you. And we hope to see you at our next webcast event.